What is gaming and why are so many doing it? Is it a waste of time? Does it rot teenage minds with violent fantasies and criminal desires? Or could it be the crush that everyone needed in the global pandemic? My name is Ben and I, like many people, enjoy playing video games casually. For those of you who don't know, video games are a form of entertainment in which a player controls a character or protagonist in a virtually created world. It's like a film, but you control what the character does. Games start off as nothing more than some white lines on a screen, which you may know as Pong, created by physicist William Higginbotham. What a name. Since then, games have evolved into the incredible creations we see today, with so many genres and stories, and it's hard to keep track of just how much games have grown through the years. But something that's easy to notice is the controversy that games have created over the years. Gaming has had quite a violent history, with Rockstar Games releasing glorified crime simulator Grand Theft Auto, with the 5th instalment going on to be the 3rd best-selling game in the whole world, with over 135 million copies sold. We can't forget Mortal Kombat either, the gore-fest fighting game in which two characters fight to the death in bloody fashion. Of course, this began to concern people. There was even a congressional hearing back in 1993 just to discuss video game violence in the US. In fact, one professor, Eugene F. Provenzo, stated that games have almost TV quality graphics but are violent, sexist and racist. That's quite a few accusations, but are they even true? To be honest, we have no way of knowing. Everyone is different and some people may be susceptible to radicalisation, and it can happen. But the vast majority of us know that it's not acceptable to drop arcade machines on people. In fact, Grand Theft Auto 5 was even accused of misogyny due to its portrayal of women. Games like this will always create controversy, but not all games are like this, so is this enough to explain the hate warranted towards video games? You see, there are many different games, like Days Gone for example, a game about the apocalypse. While that might be too soon, jokes aside, Days Gone is a zombie survival game and its story follows a young drifter searching for his wife and helping people along the way. Doesn't that sound great? Games like this don't cause any controversy, but because of the themes it conveys and the main antagonists being the zombie-like freakers, they're deemed too scary, especially for kids. But there is an age rating to prevent that. A lot of issues with games being unsuitable stem from poor parenting guidance. In the end, if a parent doesn't mind their child playing the game, then that's their decision. But games shouldn't be held accountable for causing brain rot in teenagers when they shouldn't even be playing them. From my personal experience, I've played lots of 18 games throughout my adolescence, and I haven't been negatively affected by any of them. Being raised to have manners and behave yourself is a completely separate issue to gaming, and no study has been able to prove otherwise as of yet. So do video games cause violence? No. Do video games scare people and give them nightmares? Well, they probably do. So do horror films. And this kind of emphasises my point that, video games are entertainment, not some bad influence that can be blamed for a lot of problems in society. People have shunned and blamed games for all sorts of issues, whether it's angry parents or the governments of the world. But when the pandemic rolled around, people needed something to keep them busy and to help them stay connected with friends. And all of a sudden, gaming had turned into the underdog hero, with people buying consoles to play story games and multiplayer games to pass the time in the long months at the height of the pandemic. It was a time of loss and uncertainty, but if you needed a distraction from the mounting restrictions and fear-mongering press, your console would be right there ready to go whenever you needed to de-stress. Games like Animal Crossing skyrocketed in popularity, providing people with a getaway to a tropical island they owned and relaxing activities to participate in, as well as being able to visit their friends and family's island and socialise despite being restricted to their homes. Games became a valuable lifeline of communication, as for many, their last line of defence against panic, isolation and feelings of depression. So next time you see some teenagers playing a game instead of going outside and enjoying the lovely weather, just think to yourself for a moment, why are they really playing it? Is it an emotional crutch for them that allows them to feel safe? Or is it just them wasting their life away in front of a screen? You may see many quotes online that say that gaming is a waste of time, but in my opinion, if you enjoy the time you're wasting, then it's not a waste at all. And now, a few interviews with various gamers who wish to share their opinions about what gaming is to them. Until then, I've been your host Ben. Take care and game on.
I enjoy playing games simply because it allows me to escape reality. I don't really have to worry about what's going on in my personal life or anything like that. I can just kind of get on with playing a game, focusing on, helping a team if I'm playing a team-based game, or just chilling, like what playing a story or something like that. What got me into gaming was, I think it was my mum saw a Nintendo DS and she saw that it was good for kids, so she got one for herself and me to share. And then eventually we got a Nintendo Wii, and then eventually I got myself an Xbox with some birthday money, and I just got hooked.
I first got involved in video games as a young kid. I can remember my dad used to play on the Xbox 360 back in the day. He used to play a game called Halo. So I was surrounded by games from a young age. So of course, growing up, one would only assume that I would get involved with it. But it went from playing it because my dad used to like it to playing it because I used to get enjoyment out of it. I think my main enjoyment out of it was that it was able to give me an alternate reality to live because I wasn't very happy in my real life. It gave me a place where I could enjoy myself and not have to worry about real life consequences. An endless world of creativity and make believe beyond anything that my mind could comprehend.
Personally, I do think gaming's misunderstood by the wider population. I think they have a stereotype that everyone who games is lazy and it causes violence and that it's bad for your mental health. But in reality, it's kind of the opposite. It's good for your mental health because it can provide, training experiences for for your brain and things like that. It can allow you to work better in team situations, and overall it's just something that works really well in keeping people entertained, and it actually keeps a lot of people out of violence.
I think nowadays gaming is more socially accepted. I think it's deemed as a more than just something that your kids do in the evening. I think it's now viewed as a career path. It's now viewed as a form of sport because now you've got esports and it's been demonized in the past, but I no longer think that's the wider population's view now. So I don't think it would be necessarily misunderstood. I do think there are some issues with older generations misunderstanding it. Of course, you see shoot 'em up games, very linear, very much shooting people's heads off, and I could see why there may be issues with the older generation in that regard, but I would say it's more socially accepted and less misunderstood and more arrogant per se.